Hello, and welcome to what is session 3 of us playing The Veil with a fantasy reskin that I have put together. And we are coming here on session 3. We're going to start out by doing check-ins on everybody's characters, where they're at status-wise, if anybody has taken advances, figure out about what's going on with that. And then we will kind of position ourselves in to where we are in the course of events. If you're watching this, this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, which is an online RPG community, a place where we have a calendar for play. We also have a Patreon that supports that calendar and a zine that's attached to that. If you're interested in this, we have a large YouTube playlist, both on my channel and on the Gauntlet General channel. Plus, you can actually get these in podcast form. Which I made the mistake of putting on my phone, and it downloaded like everything. And now I've got to go through and turn that off and clear it out. And in fact, someone had warned me about that. Like the first time that we had that up, someone said, don't do auto follow on it. And I did not listen to them. So that's going to be some cleaning up. In any case, let's look at our characters. Did anyone get an advance last time? 5 XP is an advance in this game. So Damsa, you will get an advance. Let's see. It looks, David, like you're at 6 as well.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And Leandro, you're only at 2, or did you already take an advance?
Oh yeah, I had 12. So
okay. Well, there you go. All right. So after you've taken your first advance is free. Advances after that cost you 1 gold to get that advance, and that scales up. Advances can be raising one of your emotional states up by 1. So that's 6 possibilities. It can also be getting a new move from your playbook, or it can be if you want to look at one of the other playbooks and there's a move you want to take from there. Those are sort of the standard things that we have as options for advances. What did you take, Leandro, as your picks for those?
Just to clarify, am I right in that you also get a gear pick along?
Yes, every time you advance, you also get a gear pick.
Or a spell, but I don't have those.
Or a spell.
Cool. Yeah, so I took 2 moves. One is from the Guild Agent playbook, my own. Up the chain. When you sway someone, you may choose an additional option. Promise to put in a good word with them in the right places, but forget about it. So effectively, this means on a hit, I choose none, and on a 7 to 9, I choose 1 of sway beyond the promise, which is just fab.
Nice.
And second move I took, I forget where I took this from. It's either the hunter or the assassin, but it's called Scoundrel's Reflexes. Whenever there's a question of who would act first in a situation, it is always you. It's one of my favorite Blades in the Dark moves.
It is. I love that one.
It's great. As for gear picks, I rectified my mistake of not getting armor and decided to get some armor. And I got a weapon that is 3 harm and versus specialty. So I got a damned shotgun as versus against angelic beings.
So while the other 2 are thinking about their picks, let me ask you this. Well, your armor is quiet. So what do you imagine is it well-made leather armor? Is it elfin chain? You know, what is it?
I think the more I'm playing Opal, I kind of conceptualize her as someone who I like to get through this campaign without having to use much magical stuff, shotguns notwithstanding.
Okay.
So I think she would be adamant that whatever she's getting is like something made by mundane means. You don't trust anything that could be magical, because that backfired on her spectacularly.
So you just go to your guild contacts, you talk to their leather worker, and somebody fits you out with a reinforced suit, quiet, no, the leather is oiled so it doesn't squeak at all, and everything, and it's beautifully made. Where do you go to get a damned shotgun? Where do you go to get a shotgun to use against angels?
Well, I guess I have to find some satanic cults, do I? Well, okay. I think this is probably a this is a some sort of another underworld guild. They're not on the 66 listed sorceries because when you've got scholars with persecutors that are angelic, that are roaming around, trying to stamp down information that they don't like, there are probably some folks who are kind of adjacent to Damsa's branch of magic, but like they've kept it their own. They're not like librarians. These ones are more like metal workers, or like they they're craftsmen, so to speak. But they've not been wiped out like Damsas, but they're not that many. Most they do is like they eke a living, giving other underworld guilds like curiosities like talismans and whatnot.
Like maybe once upon a time they had a philosophical bent, maybe once upon a time they had a higher purpose, but now it's just about surviving, making money. And yeah, when you go to talk with one of them and they're like, you really want a shotgun like that, huh?
Yeah, well, let's just say I've made some kind of poor choices, and I've made some enemies that I need to be prepared for.
The Smith, the person who you meet with, the sort of fixer for this group, says, well, we can get that for you. We can get you the ammo. It's less about the gun than it is about the shot that we get you. But I just want you to know, just want you to be aware that once you pull that out, you've upped the stakes. Right? Once they know that you're armed for bear, so to speak, just be aware, because we've seen some people pick up toys to make a point and get themselves in over their heads. I hope that's not you.
Master Smith, I wouldn't. If I didn't know what I was going for, I wouldn't be asking for a shotgun. I'd be asking for a pea shooter. But I've seen what they can do. I've seen how inadequate I am to face them. I know the stakes.
All right. Well, it'll take, I'll go get it. I've got some, it takes the bones of heretics to make the shots for these things. So we'll get those set for you. And they do. And the shotgun looks just like an ordinary shotgun, but the actual casings that you have for it themselves are unpleasant to the touch.
I think I wear gloves.
And let's come to the borrower, the nameless one, our demon, as it were, our demon angel hybrid, as it were. Well, we'll come back to that in a moment. Have you thought about what you would like to take?
And I can find the right window again. Yes, I have. I've decided to take the summoned move, Battleborn. When you decide you're a weapon, choose a way in which you are created that is formidable and describe it. And I have chosen that I am violent. I cannot control myself when my fight response activates. Gain the forceful and messy tags.
Ooh. Yeah, that certainly is applicable here.
Exactly. Yeah. I figure the combat against the angels triggered not necessarily even a memory so much as just a part of the demon that has not been active before, so, as far as I remember.
So it's less a physical change in your outfitting or weaponry, and more a sense of letting loose in that fury.
Yeah, I think so. And the other thing that now I think they're not always present, but certainly in in combat. There are also now some like glowing runes that appear down their arms and across their chest. As I've taken the gear pick I chose was armor 2 with the magical tag on it.
That's a good call. And that brings us to Damsa. What are you taking?
Yeah, I think we were all scarred by last session. So I've taken the move Slayer, the heretic move Slayer. When you confront the unnatural, corrupted, or twisted, roll. On a hit, tell the MC what you think its weakness is. On 10 plus, the MC will tell you good detail as to what weaknesses you perceive. On a 7 to 9, you are given possibilities but not certainty. And I think that's just dredging up the ancient knowledge of the librarians. I think that conference, because no one has been formally confronted by a persecutor until now, in a long time.
Right.
So it's not the kind of stuff we have in the forefront of our heads, I think.
So is this you calling on the past knowledge? Is it you finding a document? What is that process that it is to you to kind of come to these realizations?
I think it's remembering the stories told by my master and her master and their master before them. So I don't think it's a document, because we've already in the narrative described the fact that most of the documents have been lost over the generations. So there's not a lot written down. It's mostly oral history now.
Excellent. That sounds good to me.
In terms of gear,
yes.
The rest of my gear comes from the advanced gear list. Does the improvement, the XP based additional bit of gear come from there as well?
Yes, it does. You get 1 pick from the advanced gear.
Major magic item define effect. How tightly do you want to define an effect?
So what a major magic item would be, like a saying that I have a weapon, like I have a wand to fire fireball to give me fiction to be able to do one of the other weapons, but magical. But otherwise, I would say define effect. You would find a thing that it does. Like for example, minor magical effect would be something like, I have a jacket that all the blood and ichor washes off of it when I shake it. That kind of thing. But major could be, have a significant effect. What are you thinking of?
Protection against persecutors. I don't know how you feel about, hold persecutor.
So what would that look like? What would be a thing that would put a halt to one of these things?
I think it's probably an act of will, isn't it? It's an act of will focused. So I think it's about what librarian law says is that if you inscribe onto some document your desire and then focus your will through that desire, then that desire becomes real. And again, this is old law. This is stuff nobody's done in a long time. So I think I imagine Damsa, in his vaulted subterranean sanctuary, hunched with a candle on either side of the desk, hunched, carefully illuminating protection against persecutor onto this scroll, and presenting that scroll with enough force will do that thing.
You have the inky sign that you can pull out and bear, and you hope that it will work. I think that'll certainly give us a bit of fiction to allow you to push them aside, that kind of thing. All right. We have some start of session moves. Let's resolve those, and then we will kind of pull ourselves into the current situation, whether it's the immediate aftermath or whether we move forward a bit. We'll talk about that. I believe that you have a start of session, David, right?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Mine's quite straightforward. So yeah, I just roll a roll without state added to it, and then that determines who gets to ask a question. I continue to succeed at these rolls. So once again, Lowell, you get to ask me a question from the list.
Interesting. What can you do to gain a measure of acceptance? I mean, you've got people that have a certain amount of lust and longing, but acceptance is a very different thing.
Yeah, so I think what I've started to realize after my not confrontation, but my encounter in the library with Damser, I started to realize that I might possess the potential to become, if not human, at least more human. And I believe that if I am able to move beyond the nature of what I am, then people might accept me more. Whether that's true or not is anyone's guess, but that's certainly what I believe.
Now, we established that you are in a body, right?
That's correct. Yep.
And we still don't know who or what that body was, right? Okay. Excellent. Let's come to Opal. Opal, you have your guild role, I believe.
Yes, my black marks. See if I'm still in good standing with the guild. Ooh, well, I succeeded this time, but that's not a good thing for this for this move. I rolled an 11.
Rolled on 11. So you will gain a black mark. Essentially, it will get back to Radiant that there was this very public encounter, and that you were involved there. And people don't mess with the scholars. People avoid the scholars' business. People stay out of their way. They're at the center. They're not, I mean, they're not the rulers, but they have so much pull that you don't get in their way. And Radiant sends you a message and says, don't get us involved with this. And then the note also says the other business that you're to attend to, you need to do it within the next day.
Did we confirm what that other business was actually?
I believe it was getting this tome.
Oh yes, yes. Oh yeah, the Radiant doesn't know that this is mildly related to what it was. Well, no, actually, no, it's not related. This whole Farrago is nothing to do with what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
What a good word. That's a really good word to use there. And Dempsey, you don't actually have a start a session move, do you?
No, I'm always fully on.
Yes. So you came away relatively lightly from that. You walked away. Would you like to take up sort of in the immediate aftermath, back at your sanctuary in the library, or do we want to come, having had some time pass? What would you prefer, Damsa?
I think that some time should pass, because I think that the logical thing to do after that encounter would be to keep our heads down. But it does mean probably that I have to go to dinner with the floating cross-legged mage, don't I?
Yes, Harbinger, yes.
So I can't, either I cut and run from that or I go to dinner. And I think given the turn that events have taken, I am going to cut and run. I'm not going to turn up, because I cannot see anything good coming out of that.
All right, then we're going to cut forward a little bit. I will say in the fiction, healing from light and severe is, unless you pay gold, is a matter of time. So we'll say that this time that passes is enough that you can clear one wound box, as long as it's not up in the critical. But we'll still have the others, unless you want to pay gold to clear those out. Damsa, so this is the next day. You at the appointed time, you are not at the meeting, and you will feel that light pressure, after about 30 minutes, an hour of that person once again trying to gently open psychic contact with you. And you deny, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. You will deny, and pressure will come for a little while, and then it will stop. Where are you then? Are you still in your sanctuary, or are you out, out doing other things?
Knowing that, knowing the time and expecting some kind of blowback, I think I try to locate myself somewhere else in the sewer system, so that the less they see of my sanctuary, the better. So I suppose I'm trying to divert.
Yeah. No, I think this is fine.
Okay.
I think we don't even need to roll. Let me ask you this about the sewer system. We've established that the city is in segments that are split apart. They're connected up by bridges and other connections. There's obviously some magic and some physical things that go on there. Are the sewers then, are they connected between those sections, or are they all individual to their particular neighborhoods?
They're particular to the neighborhoods, but I think the closer that you are to the center, the more likely it is that connections have been established. So if we think of the central core where the spire of the scholars is, all of that is connected. And I think it is connected to those islands that are next out. But I think probably once you get further out than that, they have their own rather more primitive systems that are not connected to the main drains, so to speak.
Absolutely. And you will be moving through here, and you realize that, as happens with these microclimates, these pop-up climates, there is a cold snap that has clearly set in. As you're walking through the sewers, the water underfoot, turns to that crunchy ice on the surface of it, and you'll start to see your breath through here, and it's definitely chilled. Where, if you've evaded Harbinger, if it hasn't pressed, and you're surprised he doesn't push. I mean, clearly he's a mage, some psychic force behind it, and doesn't push on that. Where would you go? What do you need to do now?
I think I need to keep my head down.
Okay.
So I think that this is about being as unnoticeable as possible. So I go about my business above ground and below, but with a weather eye to who's watching what.
Again, when the cold sets in like this, there's a certain amount of mist and fog that rolls in just from that temperature change. It was wet and hot a couple of days ago, so it is hard to move around. There are no traffic laws in terms of which way people go on which side of the streets through here. When it's cold, it's a little bit better because the wooden planks and the mud freeze up on the streets, so it's easier to make your way around. But again, then you're having to evade carts and so on. Tell me, as you are traveling around the streets, kind of keeping your head down, stopping in places, um, carrying things out, what is the rumor that you hear on the streets about the ruler of the city, about the High Navigator? What is it that you hear?
I think that I hear that the High Navigator is ill. Some would say grievous ill, and that this is setting all kinds of rumors around, well, what would happen if the High Navigator were to pass beyond the veil?
There's a lot of talk about that. One of the things is that the High Navigator is the person who sets a lot of the terms for division of resources, makes the negotiations. The transition to a new High Navigator is half hereditary, half gathering of the most influential, to pick the next pope kind of thing, and that people are jockeying for position. If this is true, people point to this cold snap here in the midst of a high summer as evidence of something worrisome. So I think that's generally in the air. Does that seem fair?
It does. Signs and portents. Is it fair to say that some of the factional relationships could shake up as well?
Absolutely. Whoever takes over will have a lot of pull, and all of those alliances will get reorganized. And people are trying to figure out who might be in line, because it's so unexpected. No one has thought, okay, who would naturally fall in. Let's come to our demon friend. When we come to you, where do we find you laying your head down?
I think we find the demon in a, certainly for up until this point, an unusual place for them. They are in, I think, what looks to all intents and purposes like a temple or a magical sanctum or something of the nature. This is so I'm going to be, sort of mechanically speaking, I'm going to be spending a gold to heal an additional wound box, and I think that that the demon has essentially found a group of magicians, for want of a better word, who have been able to help them with healing from the wounds they sustained. And I think we see them sort of sat almost like in a meditative pose in the middle of a kind of mystical sigil on the floor of this chamber, with sort of mystical sigils scrawled around them, and burning candles and incense.
And this is definitely a group of magic users rather than any kind of priests or divine. Are they more philosopher mages?
Yeah, I think I like the sound of philosopher mages. I think they are Yeah, I think that they are definitely a group of they're possibly. I think they probably. I'm going to say that they are one of the sanctioned groups, but they specialize in um, kind of emotion-based magics, and that gives them a good affinity for working with demons, because demons themselves are the kind of embodiment of emotional power. So,
And I imagine that part of it is with the chaos of your emotions, that they probably have one of their apprentices there that draws off some of the wild emotion that is burning from you, that
yeah,
takes some of that on. And when you're finished, the magister of this group, we'll call them Typhoon, will come over and will say, it seems that you are still out of balance in a way that we have not seen before.
yes, I feel something unusual within myself as well, though whether it is damage or merely change, I cannot yet say.
You should be cautious in what you do. There is emotion, and then there is abstraction, and you bear both within you.
Yes. Yes, I think you are right. I think that is. It is a new experience.
You are always welcome to come here and meditate. Your presence here is illuminating to us.
Thank you. Your hospitality has been most gracious.
There is a visitor we have not permitted to enter into the hall who is waiting for you outside.
They are not masked and carrying a pair of scissors, are they?
No, they
Good.
are most assuredly not.
I will go and meet them. I am feeling much better than when I came here.
And Typhoon will nod, and one of the acolytes will come in and lead you out, and lead you out to the outside. Again, the temperature is dropped, so when you go outside, it's that cold and that mist, and you will see there is a person you've met a couple of times before, tattooed on their fingernails, on their eye, actually the eyes and the retinas and tongues, but otherwise kind of pale skinned, and you'll recognize this is Grimfinger, the little god. And he says, I could hear your pain across the city.
Really, that is quite a feat. I had not realized I was quite so loud.
It is that I have a great sympathy for you, an attachment. And I worry when I know that you are in pain.
I have nothing against pain. All sensation has a certain joy to be found within it. It is the cessation of pain that I find more worrying. But thankfully, such was not the case this time, and I prevailed against, I hate to say enemies, but those who attempted to stop me.
Serious forces arrayed against you, is my understanding.
Yes, or well, against one of my companions, at any rate.
You don't have to live like this. Come with me. Come to my holding. Help me in my endeavor, in my ascension. And I can do much for you.
So tell me, what is it that you need from me? What can I do that will help you?
A ritual here, a ritual there. There are some steps, some things. We could talk through it. I can show you the ways of things. I would need you to help bring in some recruits for what is necessary.
I shall consider it, and consider it seriously.
Do consider it seriously. I know that you are enjoying this fleshy body that you have, but this place is not to my... We will talk later. From one incarnate to another.
Indeed, indeed.
And he will sort of shakily step back off into the mist and the frosty ice there. We'll come back to you. Opal, how did you get your hand taken care of? Is it still hurting, or do you go to a physiker? Do you go to a magical healer?
Yeah, well, I didn't take reliable access to a physiker, and I think I don't. Even though probably a lot of people saw me faint from the pain, I still don't want to like put out that I'm severely hurt. So I think I've look. False Cloud says they're good at setting bones, so I trust them. I wouldn't have hired them if they weren't. If they didn't say they weren't good at their job.
Yeah, and I imagine it is not a pleasant process then if you were doing this kind of on the down low.
Yeah, it's not great, and also having your dominant hand be not in good shape for a while, it's messing up with her, like just getting around. It's annoying, but like she'd rather. The thing with her is that she'd rather take it slow. She'd rather take everything slow, honestly. But she'd rather take this one slow and get it right rather than finding some physiker she doesn't trust.
Open evening. One of your underlings is there and is like, is there somebody that we need to hit? I mean, did somebody do this to you, or I mean, I don't want to assume, boss, but well, we'll get the crew together.
Oh, I know that feeling, Open. I've been attacked, hurt, and whatnot, but here's another thing you need to know. When you feel the need to really do something, that's when you know you have to slow things down. That's when you know you have to consider. Like somebody does need to get hit, but you need to determine who and why. We can't just rough people up for the heck of it. Otherwise, we're just sadists. We're not that.
So you don't know who we're supposed to hit yet?
Oh, I know exactly.
Oh, well, okay.
It's just that the way to hit them is it's a bit beyond me right now. Magic folk, you know.
Ugh. I don't care for the magic folk.
So right now, we're retrenching. We're shoring up our defenses and making sure.
What do you want us to do, boss?
Right now, Guildmaster's cracking down on me hard. I'll take care of that. You and Soft Sky, I need you to do another fact-finding mission. And I know they're not the most exciting things, but they pay off. Another lesson.
Oh, okay.
Again, preparation pays off.
Yeah, okay.
I need you to find out as much as you can about the damn, so what's the name of your group? No, the group you're a part of?
The librarians.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's what Opal says.
The librarians? You mean like librarians?
Oh no. That's librarians with a soft L. No, this is librarians with a capital prop. It's a proper noun, librarians. Do you remember our charming Night Soil janitor that you met?
Yeah, he's something odd about him. How he got into your offices, got past us. I mean,
again, that's magic folk for you. Someday we'll get a handle on all this mumbo jumbo mystical.
Is he a wizard?
Not exactly. I've met wizards, and he's in one of those gray areas. He's one of those capital L librarians, and as far as I'm concerned, he's holding out on us.
Okay, well we'll go and see what we can find about this. We'll all set some of the other people to watch the work. Otherwise,
Open.
yes.
If I have to ask honestly, how do you think I'm doing right now? Be honest. I don't mind honesty.
I think the guildmaster's pissed at you. You had a janitor break into your apartments, and you got attacked by something. I don't think that's a great couple of days.
No, it's not really, is it?
I mean, that doesn't reflect on you, but rather the situation you're in, if I'm being honest.
At some point, we were going to have to be involved with all this magic stuff. Now that the High Navigator's position is up in the air, the sorceries making a mess of things. We needed to have a toehold on all this. It was going to be messy. I knew that, but we'll get through it. I have a modicum of faith in you and everyone else.
All right. And she will gather Soft Sky, and they will go out to hit the streets. Let's do a basic move. Let's do a read the world for this, using your agents to carry this out.
Yeah. This feels a bit powerful because I'm sitting in my apartments and not really lifting a finger and telling them to do whatever. All right, so that's a flat roll.
That'll clear one of your fear checks.
God, I'm not getting the best roll. So I wonder why I rolled a 12. I got 12 XP last time. Oh, this is a 6. This is a big old 6.
That is a 6. XP. Well, I think that off screen we see Open and Soft Sky hitting the streets, talking with people, and then we see them meeting with somebody who says, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I can provide you the information that you need." God, absolutely, and just come with me. And we get a flash, and we see that smirk on the face of Song Cullen as he leads your two operatives into a back alley. So, Damsa, let's put you either in connection with another PC, or if there's a particular NPC you want to look at. What do you want to do?
I'd quite like to be in a drain in that back alley.
Interesting. Okay.
Because what I want to do is I want to give Song Cullen a fright.
Interesting. Do you what would it be such that do you have some magic that would allow you to happen to be in that thing? What is the circumstance here that you think?
I think that the great tome knows where I should be. Well, they're looking for me, and I think that I know they're looking for me. So I've been keeping a discreet eye on Opal's operatives.
All right, I think this is you. I think this is a risk. I think you're putting yourself at risk. I think that's a good generic move to use to see what the situation is when you roll in on this. So let's have you go ahead and roll. What do you want to roll that with?
I think now I'm getting my head around the mechanics. Currently, I've used powerful 3 times.
Yes.
I've got 1 more, and then the 5th time it spikes. Yeah,
that is correct.
If I use the diametrically opposed state, does that knock power down?
Absolutely, it does.
Because I think I'm shit scared, actually, at the minute.
Absolutely.
By everything. Because I could be the librarian that loses the tome.
Very, very, very likely.
I was hoping for very true rather than
very
likely.
true. Very true. So yeah, you'll click fear and you'll remove a mark from power.
Okay.
And go ahead and roll.
Roll at -1.
Yep.
3 becomes 2.
So the good news is you get to mark XP. The bad news is you are following them, and then you're like, okay, they went down this alley, and you will pop up into the alley, and you will see this gentleman leaning against a wall there, and you will see both of Opal's minions laid out on the floor of the alley. One of them sprouting some kind of dagger. You're not sure which one it is yet. And this person says, "You must be Damsa."
I'm not sure that having rolled a 2, it's fair for me to say, and you must be Song Cullen. So instead I shall go, no.
I have heard that you're a good friend to Opal Ocean, Mr. Damsa. Or is it just Damsa?
Never heard of her. Never, no. Sorry, took a wrong turning, left a bucket of something unmentionable around the corner. Neat, thank you, bye.
And he says, one of them could survive if you wanted to stop the bleeding.
When did night soil collectors become humanitarians? Well,
and he waits and watches, like he crosses his arms.
Seeing the blood pool. There's no need for this, is there? Do I know you at all?
I'm an old friend of Opal's. She and I have some disagreements, and people are getting caught in the way of it. Well, actually, I'm catching them in the way of it. It's not any sort of passive voice in this.
Well, could I just there's no need.
You can leave. You can leave. You just walk away. And I will say no more of this. Opal will never know that you left one of her people behind to die.
I want to, because I was told something about Song Cullen. Song Cullen is the way to get a handle on Opal, so I don't want to walk away.
Yes.
I don't want to walk away. No, how can I help this person? Because if your arguments with Opal, you don't need to involve anyone else, do you?
No. And he steps back. Go ahead. And he points to the two of them and says, I think that the woman is probably less likely to die if you heal her.
I will certainly come to their aid. I have no way to heal them, to my knowledge.
Well,
apart from bind wounds.
Exactly. This is you attempting to do. I assume in your life on the street that you know how to perform the basic first aid to keep yourself intact. What do you want to roll that with?
I think I have to go with fear. I am wetting myself.
Okay. I'm going to have you roll. It's going to succeed, but it's a question of the cost here.
Okay. So. That's a 4.
The good news is that you get to mark XP and you do bind this woman's wounds, but at the same time, you hear the gurgle out of the last breath of the other guy. And you've seen him before. He's one of Opal's trio, kind of a drinker, more of a good time guy, not that effective, but he certainly didn't deserve to bleed out here in this alley like this. And
no.
Song Cullen goes, my suggestion to you would be that you steer clear of Opal. That you stay away, keep your distance, and then you'll be safe.
If I heard anything that was useful to you, how would I contact you?
You're kind of ballsy, aren't you?
Well,
when you're knee deep in blood there, yeah.
I have a bone to pick with some of a relative of Opal.
Oh, now I'm interested. The Ferryman's Dock. It's over on the outskirts. There's a tavern there. You can leave word there.
Thank you.
And he stands up and he says, well, I'll leave you to this then.
And as is the wont of night soil collectors, I will tidy up the debris.
Fair enough. Demon, my demon, let's either put you in a scene with another PC or if there's an NPC you want to interact with, what would you like to do?
I'd actually like to call on Opal, if that's okay.
Okay, absolutely. Opal is relaxing. She has sent out her minions to do her bidding. She's looking over the accounts for the various jobs that she runs for the guild that are sort of the things that oversees, probably a little bit of protection, probably a little bit of basic stuff. And the tavern owner has probably seen you before, right? So they when you come in, they will nod, and they will send one of the young punks up to Opal's rooms, and you'll get that. Opal, Mrs. Opal.
I think I'll answer the door myself. But there's a bit of jostling because I went with my right hand. And it's like, oh, shit.
There's
What is
a
it?
the weirdling man is here.
Oh, damn.
Should I have them sent up, or do you want to come down?
Send them up.
Okay.
They're a friend.
And then this very, very scared 11-year-old boy comes down over to where you're at, and says, you can go on up.
Thank you. And I think, the demon is currently appears to be a young, handsome man, sort of curly hair, but still with those burning burning sort of red eyes, staring out. Says, "Thank you, child. You have been most gracious. Here." He reaches inside the coat he's wearing and pulls out a sweet. Have this. Enjoy.
And he takes it. What does the angel think of this?
I think the angel is just kind of confused by just confused by this. I mean, to some extent, the interaction as a whole, but certainly like this sort of like random kindness. Just it seems like an unnecessary thing to do.
It doesn't get it at all. Like the complexities of this, the dynamics of it. It's so layered that it just can't process it. And you will find yourself up at Opal's rooms. Opal, you see the demon, aka the borrower, there.
Well, you're looking divine.
Thank you. It makes things a little easier walking the streets. I can revert to normal. I can stay like this if you wish. If there is anything else you would like me to be, let me know.
No, it's fine. Do what thou wilt. It's all right. Do you want wine?
Oh yes, please. And I think with that, I'll sort of stretch out, and as a stretch, that kind of the flesh ripples and shimmers, and is in his supernatural form again.
What you'll notice that like on the coffee table, so to speak, in the middle of this living room, is like there's just a lot of scattered paper and books and whatnot, and there's like you can see it's a lot of numbers. You know, it is like a lot of like ledgers and whatnot. Opal does look after like the meat and potatoes of this operation. You hear like a clinking, and I think you'll notice that like Opal's holding the wine bottle in this hand that is kind of just basically a claw, or it's trapped in some sort of like contraption that's keeping it steady as a claw. Like False Cloud said it should be straight up, but Opal's like, no, it has to be like it has to be a claw so I can move stuff, so I can hold stuff. And she pours you some middling wine.
Not the good stuff?
Nah. She's too stressed for good stuff right now.
Yeah. Thank you. And he'll take the wine and drink with every sign of enjoyment, and say, I just wish to check up on you and make sure that you were feeling as well as can be expected given our last meeting.
Well, that's very kind of you to do so. Well, it's a setback, but yeah, at some point one gets used to setbacks. It's a question of what you're going to do afterwards. I've yet to find a setback that's large enough to check me. What about yourself?
Good. Yes, it was. I have not had to resort to violence like that before. At least not within my memories. It was, the situation was obviously regrettable, but the overall experience was not entirely without some pleasure.
Opal quirks an eyebrow at that, and then goes to pour herself a glass of wine in response.
But
I'm curious then. The violence that happened, did pleasure link, was that linked with hold on, let me find the sentence. Did what happened, did it get linked to pleasure because that is mostly what you know, or is it just that it is pleasurable to you?
that is a good question, and I am not sure that I have an answer for it. Certainly, the thrill of the exhilaration was pleasurable, and well, I was saying to someone else earlier, but the pain is at least a reminder that we can feel, is it not?
Let me tell you, demon, that sort of realization, it is a bit first base. Yes, we can feel, but there comes a point where at some point you'd rather not. But I guess it's to some people it's novelty, to others it's old hat.
Perhaps you're right. I still have much to learn. I had another question I wished to ask you.
By all means, it seems I'm giving more and more of myself away these days. Why not another piece?
Of course, feel free to refuse if I ask too much, but your name, it is a very pretty name. I like the sound of it. Opal Ocean. Where did you get it from?
Opal kind of takes a sip of the wine and kind of wrinkles her lips. Suddenly she wishes she'd opened some nicer wine. Where I work, this organization, we have a way of taking up names, and there is a way in which we take our names, and it usually is two words: a descriptive and a noun. And the only rule is that that noun must be something that no one can ever own: a shade, a reflection, sky. And when I was asked what name I wanted, I'll be quite frank, I had not thought of it at the time. Only when I looked around where I was, which was this very room, I'll have to point out. I looked out there, and she points at the balcony, and you can see that the view from the balcony past the terraces and the tiers, you can see that endless ocean that the city is on. And Opal says, I saw that view, and I thought to myself, well, if that is not something I can own, then perhaps that is something I could strive to be. Something grounded but unconquerable. Something that it can be needed but can also drown. Some my younger self had some very lofty ideas of who they wanted to be. Let's just say.
Thank you. That has given me much to think on. I feel I ought to have a name, but I do not yet know what it should be.
There's no harm on taking time. Well, in my case, perhaps I should have taken time, but I found that I grew into the name. But if you're looking for something that can really define you, well, given all your questions, time certainly should be taken.
Yes, thank you. If there is anything I can do for you, you have but to ask. I will do it as I can. I have plans to see about working for, well, a man does not quite cover it, a godling in human form. I do not entirely trust them, however. There is nothing I would ask of you now, just I wished to make you aware of it.
Keep that in mind. And I would say it's my turn to thank you. This has been a nice distraction from everything else. She casts a gaze at all the notes and all the the numbers.
Well, distracting people is my primary purpose for existence.
Yeah, I think that's the scene. But
Yeah.
it feels like. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that seems like a good scene. Opal, Leandra, do you want to do a scene, or shall we check in with Damsa and maybe bring those strings together? What would you like to do?
I want to say that I think I fired off my intimacy move there. I shared
Yeah.
something quite revealing. I don't think, and Opal wasn't lying about any of that.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. She wouldn't lie to Demon. She'd lie to Damsa or refuse to give Damsa anything because Damsa's pushy. But yeah.
Let's have you roll without a state.
All right. I've been rolling blanks all day. Well, oh, there you go. That's another blank. I keep getting fives. Or either just the worst worst results.
See, the good news is you get to mark XP. The bad news is that you feel some attachment to the demon. And the bad news is also that somebody downstairs, loose lips, eventually word about your closeness, time spent in seclusion with this demon will get back to your boss.
I was gonna suggest like maybe it gets back to my rival, but I don't want to add another NPC that has a grudge against Opal.
Yeah, no, your boss is already kind of upset with you, so that seems appropriate. And that probably triggers yours as well.
Indeed, yeah. So I also roll for mine, and I get a 7. So on a 7, I can ask you one question. Oh, they're all really good.
They are really good.
I think yeah, given the conversation, I think the closest one that feels most there is, what is your concept of good? A nice easy one for you there. That's
yeah, sure. I think for Opal, given her position right now, given how she got there and what she's trying to do, which is keep her position, I'd say her idea of good is, God, I have to make very, very like definitive statements. about my character now. I think she thinks it's transactional. You do good to get good done for you. That's why she's try. She thinks she owes the guild for giving her, or at least giving an opportunity to get this, sort to get to where she is, and she's paying that back by get trying to do well to her underlings or whatnot. Well, to at least the two that are left. Well, she doesn't know that yet. And she thinks that, like, okay, just being nice to this demon, she'll get something out of it in the future. And also kind of like the inverse as well. If like good is transactional, if you pay, it basically is, do not do unto others what you want others to do unto you. If Damsa's gonna come over here and be like, hey, I gave you some info, now you got to do what I want. It's like, well, or you got to do what I want, even though it just get you entangled with this. Well, then that gives Opal like carte blanche in her eyes to like try and get one over Damsa.
Interesting. Let's see, Damsa. Do we want to bring you into this stage here, or do you have something else you want to hit?
I would quite like to appear with the flush of a toilet, carrying Open.
So you'll hear that sound that you now associate with the arrival of Damsa. Damsa probably uses this way because you described being able to see off in the distance. So my imagining is you're probably in a very high place then. You'd have to be up on a high part of a building or on a stack or one of these sections of the city that is raised up in some ways. And Opal, you see Damsa come out. Are you holding her upright? Do you have her in her arms? What is that?
I think I come out, kick the door open, step into the room carrying the injured Open.
Pale, she had that kind of sheen sweat on her of shock, and there's blood everywhere. Opal.
I could save her. I couldn't save Soft Sky.
I think I hear that, and Opal's face just kind of like goes cold, and then she kind of like, there's a moment where like it looks like she goes into shock, and then she just goes into full autopilot. So what she does is she's gonna like tip over the table and get all the notes and ledgers off, and just say very like coldly, put her on the table, and she's gonna move out to the entrance, open the entrance of her rooms, open it, and just yell for False Cloud's name.
Okay.
Just yell, Cloud, get in here.
He'll come running up the stairs, like he blade out, like he assumes that there must be something. If you're calling like this, there must be some kind of fight or something.
I think I'll just let them in, and they'll see. Hopefully, Damsa's put open on the table. Can you do anything?
I can go get the quarterling. He's on retainer for the neighborhood.
Go do it.
And he takes off. There's a bit of a wait here that where Damsa you can speak with Opal while Cloud runs and gets the doctor.
What happened?
Song Cullen happened. You're lucky I was following them.
Opal's not gonna not notice that, but I think the name Song Cullen is distract for a bit. Of fucking course. Sorry, I'm allowed to swear in this fantasy world. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just want to be sure. Okay. All right. Did you talk to him?
Yes. At some risk.
Well, thank you for intervening.
Do you want him?
I want his head mounted outside this tavern, if that's what you mean.
What if I could find him for you? What's that worth, Opal?
Oh God. Let me the player think this through. Opal standing in her rooms. Her apprentice has bled out. Her other underling is dead. She's not in the best of graces with the guildmaster for multiple reasons. And now this night soil janitor who she's meant to be fleecing out of at home, she's going to be put further in debt with him.
Yeah, what was that definition
That-
of good again?
Wow. Did you decide to come in here after you heard that? Very.
You have a
okay,
certain
okay.
character type, Opal.
You
I've
know,
read
yeah.
about people like you.
I think all that I said kind of like wars inside Opal for a moment, but she knows that like there's no other choice. What do you need?
What I've always needed, Opal. Help and protection.
Fine. You give me Song Cullen. I'll give you what you want.
Let me ask the demon here with the angel in the back of your head. What's your reaction, or what is the reaction of the angel to this wounded body? I mean, to this soul that's maybe struggling to leave from its mortal frame. What is your reaction to this?
I think the the demon is probably would like to do something to ease their suffering. I think the angel is I think it's probably I'm trying to think what its take on this would be. It's probably it probably thinks that something should be done, but what it thinks should be done, I'm not certain. It's yeah.
Okay, confusion, uncertainty. That seems fair. And you're kind of saying that you're kind of watching, you're feeling the emotional back and forth between Damson and Opal, and then Cloud's back with a guy in a like a butcher style apron comes in. Clearly, the doctor for the area on hire been pulled out from whatever he was working on, yanked up here. He kind of looks at the body, shouts for water, pulls his kit out, and sets to work. And that is where we'll take our break, and we will come back from the break. We'll take 5 here, okay? when we come back from commercial, effectively, the Physiker Quarterling has finished up with the bandages, with the wounds there. They've looked at you and said, we'll need her to have some place to rest. You'll want someone to watch over her, but she should be fine. She'll not be working for a ways yet, probably a couple of weeks.
So long as she's fine. Everything
Aye.
else you can take care. So long as she's fine.
And he stands there in that way that says, and my tip?
Yeah, the Opal kind of like reaches into her coat and realizes she's reaching with her right hand, so it takes a while. And then finally she takes out like a good old pouch. You know how it is. It's a fancy world. Yeah, just get a nice pouch. And I think that'll be like equivalent of like maybe 1 gold.
That seems
or
fair.
do I have to
Absolutely.
actually pay?
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
He'll take it, nods, and we'll leave you to it. Of course, you will see that False Cloud looks like upset, like this happened on his watch. And he's halfway concerned about being dressed down for having screwed up, but also guilty.
I'll get a drink. None of this wine shit. Get something stronger for everyone in here.
My boss goes down to the bar to get alcohol, and it's just the three of you there.
Can I retcon something I mentioned?
Yeah. What do you want to
session?
retcon?
I want to retcon not knowing where Open came from,
Oh, okay.
and the way.
Yeah. So that was it. That to refresh, that was we'd asked you, what was the thing you didn't know about her, and so we're gonna retcon on that. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's a moment where like Opal's kind of staring at Open's prone body, and then she asks Damsa, when you intervened, was Soft Sky already dead, or knowing Song Cullen, did he make you choose? That's to you, Damsa.
Oh, sorry. I was miles away then. I do beg your pardon. Repeat the question. Sorry, I thought it was aimed somewhere else.
Opal asks Damsa, like, when you said you intervened, did you have to choose?
Of course I had to choose. I could have run or I could have stayed.
And between Open and Soft Sky.
I thought I had a better chance of saving this one's life.
I think Opal actually kind of like laughs a bit, and she says like, "That's I don't know how magic does it, but I'm surprised you didn't recognize her when you met her."
What do you mean?
Do you really think that I would just sequester away your beloved would-be apprentice far away from my eyes? And she nods at Open even.
The tome moves in mysterious ways.
Well, I was going to say you got incredibly lucky, but...
No, the tome knows. The tome knows everything, Opal. Sometimes we know when it speaks to us, sometimes we
Opal
don't
kind of
know.
gives you a look as... translate to, yes, I know. bloody well that tome is very mysterious and whatnot, and I really, really need.
Oh, you've frozen, Leandro.
Yep.
Oh no.
Might want to have you drop and come back.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that.
I haven't had that in a while.
While that's happening, I'm just curious if the angel in the demon, so to speak, can sense the scroll inside my jerkin.
It's a good question.
What scroll is it? Sorry.
The protection against angels scroll.
Oh, it's probably vaguely aware of it. Yeah. I'm assuming my assumption was that this is probably a demon. Probably an angel of knowledge. So their primary interest is probably in actual like books and repositories of knowledge. But I think that they would probably get a vague glimmer of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out whether I can trust you now.
I am as well, actually, if they're going to mark a point of humanity from because I have the judgment move, which is when you witness the world at its worst, or it lets you down in the way that causes you to reevaluate everything you thought you knew about people. Take one essence, because the whole description of that thing with Song Cullen seems like unusually cruel.
Absolutely.
And the other question I have, while we've just got a slight pause, is my runes. It says you may have up to 3 components any time. Is that 3 components per person or 3 in total?
That's a really good question. Let me look at how it's.
Sorry, that's I was looking in the veil. That's why I missed Leandra's question. I was looking up references to components in the rules.
Oh, let's see. I had always read it as 3 total, but let me ask Fraser about that when we play with him next. That's a really good question.
All right. Be back. Hello.
Okay.
Yes, you're back in the room. So yeah, I am. Damsa is the book. The book knows everything. Everything is in the book, and therefore the book knows everything. Opal.
Did the book know that this would happen to her? Can the book tell me if I'm going to have the pleasure of having Song Khan's head mounted outside this tavern? Can the book tell me that?
The book may know, but what the book tells may not be what it knows. It acts in mysterious ways, Opal. It's not it's not like one of the books in the spire. Those books are just information. The tome is more. It is the book.
Do you know what mysterious ways tells me? It tells me that it's code for mysterious bullshit that I'm not smart enough to figure out, but you just happen to be.
People have said that before, but the book has proved them wrong. The book will have things for you to learn, Opal.
All books have that. It's not that special.
No, but the tome knows what you need before you know. It took me to that alleyway. It took me to that alleyway because Song Cullen would be in that alleyway. I didn't know that you wanted Song Cullen dead. How could I?
I think it's getting a bit much for Opal. It's been a very stressful day. And I think she says like, okay, all right, like, fine, I'll say yes to all that. Sure, yeah, the book knows everything. Actually, if the book knows, can the book tell them and they point at the demon and tell them what they're at so they can hurry up and figure out who they are as well? Can the book just do all that? Oh wait, no. The book may know. All right, okay, I get it.
Let me demonstrate the power of the book.
Opal gets quiet when you say that.
Borrower, would you leave the room?
If you wish me to, certainly.
And then I am going to invoke the rune I have on Borrower to use true name. And for this, I have to go high, so I have to go power.
Okay. Well, you actually roll with whatever runes you spend.
Oh, so I do. You're right.
Yeah.
So I spend one rune. The way I imagine this working, because what I want to do is to send a message to Borrower without speaking to Borrower. And so Opal, give me some paper and ink.
She'll give you that.
What would you want to say to Borrower that I could not possibly know?
As in, do I write that down?
You tell me, I write it down, and we will summon Borrower back, and I will ask Borrower what it is, what you wanted to say.
All right, sorry, my internet kind of fits out there. What exactly does Damsa want Opal to do?
Opal, tell me something that you know and Borrower knows that I can't know, that I cannot have prepared Borrower to know.
Oh, this is just a roundabout way of getting secrets from Opal. I knew it. All right. Tell what I've always wanted. I think instead of inventing something, I'll just reuse what I said an hour ago. And I think Opal says like, well, between me and Borrower, we know that my younger self had some very lofty ideas of what she wants to be. Hence why I'm called Opal Ocean.
And that's what I will write down on this piece of paper. And then I fold up the paper and I press my hands down on it and roll some dice.
Absolutely.
Plus
Spend
one.
a rune, roll with a +1.
10.
What? I think that must be a mistake. There's been no 10s through this session.
There's
Certainly
been
not
one.
from me.
There's one.
Yeah, there's been one. It gave me a black mark.
Oh, that's right. So on a 10+, you get to hold 3.
So I will spend 1 communicating with them without regard to distance or barriers. And I will have them take +1 forward right now. You never know. Might happen. Might be worth it. And I can't resist marking them in a dramatic way.
So 2 questions then. 1, what is this communication like for them? And then 2, what does that dramatic marking look like?
Okay, I think that it is simply because it is Opal's words that I'm communicating. Opal's voice will speak those words into Borrower's mind. And I think we talked about tattoos, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Tattoos down the arm, Borrower? I think that a new rune is added to those tattoos that is linked to the tome. Does that seem all right?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Borrower, what's your reaction to this unusual communication, this unusual transformation?
Yeah. So I think yeah. I think that the demon slams the door open and looks not angry, but confused, and says, "What did you do to me?"
And Damsa turns to Opal and says, "You see the power of the book. O borrower, I have marked you with the word of the book, that the book and you will be closer than before. And you are blessed in that."
My name was Dantalion when I was summoned. It is not truly my name, but it is the name I was given by the one that summoned me.
And is the rune not a D?
Yes.
I turn to Opal and say, "You see the power of the book."
This is another one of those. I need to figure out how the hell Opal react to this. I think, I mean, she's not gonna be not. I mean, she will be convinced, but honestly, seeing that power, it kind of like reinforces for her that like maybe the guild master had a point, and maybe she should have really just stabbed Dams in the back with this book. This book is quite a lot. And I think she'll say like, "Well, you've convinced me of its power. Sure, yeah, sure. I'm not gonna gainsay that. What I just saw there. So, what happened to your lot? This book has so much power. Why is it in the hands of a night soil janitor, popping out of toilets?"
I was chosen, as I gesture to Open, as she could have been chosen. Who knows why? The book knows, but nobody else knows. Don't you understand, Opal? All of this, it's just so much froth on the pond.
Damn, so what you're asking me is to believe in something bigger than myself. And frankly, I'm a bit behind.
You'll come to understand, Opal. You'll come to understand. I'm confident of that now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have kept Open safe. She wouldn't have been injured. I wouldn't have become involved. You'd never have told me.
And I think in back of Opal's mind, it's like, if I hadn't sent her out to go looking for information on these damn librarians, she would have been injured. Like, connections. Ugh. I think it's like, look, we can sit down and chat about connections and relationships and whatnot. We do live in a damn city. Everything's all interconnected, whether we like to or not. But we have Well, you've offered me someone up. Hold up that side of the bargain, and I'll do what you ask of me.
I think I'd like to use all of this exchange to see if I can have determined a fragment of Opal's true name.
That seems reasonable to me. That does seem like a would generate a component there.
I mean, probe is probably the more precise trigger.
Yeah.
Do you wanna,
Well,
like,
how
put it
about
all
this?
together?
You always gain the rune, but if you want to do the probe as well on top of that, we can resolve that too. So go ahead and mark the rune, and then let's have you roll probe.
Okay, so I will use. I think I'm going to use joy, because this is just hot tome. So that's plus nothing.
Yep.
That's a 7.
Look at that, just edging it out. So you get one question.
How could what does okay,
Got choices
deep
there.
breath. Deep breath. I want to know what Opal intends to do in relation to me.
That's a fair question.
That is a fair question. Because
I'm gonna let you answer that, and then I'm gonna check in with Dantalion.
yeah, she intends to keep you close. Help and protection, you'll get that. Much in the same way that Open Evening got help and protection. She won't
Friends
eyes on
close,
you.
enemies closer
Yeah.
still. Yeah.
Dantalion, you've had this revelation. You've seen this back and forth conversation between Damson and Opal. What is it that you want to do? What are you feeling? What's driving you right now?
Yeah, so I think Dantalion has sort of withdrawn completely at this point, and is it's not that he's remembering anything in a clear sense, but he is definitely feeling though the sensation again of being bound in the first place, and the and I think actually, yeah, I will do that. I'm going to consume the humanity I got earlier.
Okay.
To activate the rise move, which allows me. I'm going to choose the option on here to. Oh, actually, no, it's the other way around, which I'm less interested in doing. Okay, so what I will do is I will unlock my mad tag as yeah, as I said, he's sort of reliving this feeling of being bound and controlled again, and I think sort of see his like claws spring out of the end of his long fingers, and I think with that, he is just going to walk out onto the balcony and
Icy, cold.
fly
Yeah.
and take to the skies without any real destination in mind at the moment.
And yeah, you will launch out into that cold wind. It is a mixture of that sort of light snow carried on a just icy cold wind, but also that mix of smoke. Like clearly, people have been desperately, starting fires and fireplaces to keep themselves warm, but it's also, people weren't quite prepped, so you can tell that some things have caught fire in different parts of the city, and there's that sort of smell mixed in with the cold here. And you have any plan, or are you just wandering where the will takes you?
Yeah, actually, I might just. I think I'm just going to. I think at first they're very much not really paying much attention to the outside world. It's more the physical exertion is kind of works off the new these new feelings that are flowing through them, and the cool air is literally cooling them off, I think. And I think after some amount of time, there's that kind of cathartic feeling, and they settle into a more sort of just gliding through or over some of the city streets and the like. And I might go here for just making a read the world move.
Yeah,
just to see if I see anything interesting. I don't have any particular, and that's that. Actually, no. I suppose that this is probably at this point with. This is probably actually still with Mad at the moment, because I think it's still working off that latent anger, and so that's a 7 in total.
So I think as you definitely are moving over and around the city in a way you probably haven't before, the mist and the fog there has given way to just ice cold and smoke that are around. You definitely see that some of the smoke and some of the fire has that look of some deliberate action, like maybe there's some factional fighting breaking out in places. You'll see one of the neighborhoods that's kind of a clear crossroads is the bridges have been secured and locked for it. And you can see the markers that they put down when there's a cholera outbreak. And they've closed off that section. They've got the plague eaters. They don't cure plagues, but they clean up after them. That's one of the mage schools. And it looks like what has happened is, because that's a major crossroads, that has increased tensions, and that seems to be starting to make some of this factional outbreak, the rumors and things swirling around, making that worse. Does that sound like a fair set of details? Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, that sounds good. Sorry, I was on mute.
No. Let's come back to Opal, and then let's come to Damsa. Opal, your ward, your apprentice, is put into care. She is safe for the moment and out of the woods. And your friend the demon, who you have a strong emotional tie to from those earlier conversations, launches themselves out that balcony, the ice and the wind cutting in even as they vanish into the smoke.
Yeah, I think, and Damso would see this, like, when the demon kind of goes off, or Dantalion goes off, Opal actually runs after them at the balcony and just barely like not catches them, but like just kind of is just looking out as they take flight. And I think Opal's just kind of like murmuring to herself, what the hell is happening? Where are you going now?
The demon understands the power of the book.
Look, you've convinced me of the power of your book, but just because you're tied to it doesn't mean everything has to be all right. Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. We can talk philosophy, sure. Maybe when I'm far less stressed. But you owe me a head. Where am I gonna find Song Cullen?
I can get a message to them, arrange a meeting, and then you can take your head.
I'll ask later how you came about this arrangement, but for now, I'll take it.
On the tip of Damsa's tongue is the book. But
I think actually, and this is a little early, but I think we're at that point where you're setting up for Song Cullen. We have the demon out doing these things. I think if we stop here, we can bring Fraser in next time and roll this all together. Does that seem like a reasonable place? It feels like a nice high point here.
Yeah.
After a fairly intense session.
Hold up. Before we do, because I think I have to try and clear this black mark.
Oh yeah.
Before the end of the session. So I think as we're in the middle of all this preparation, and this all happens off screen, there's a moment where like Opal kind of like just clears up her notes and whatnot. It's like, all right, fine. I have to dip into my savings, just make sure Guildmaster is fine, or his, a bit of coin might distract him. I don't know if I want to spend. Let's see, good graces. I've roll plus gold spend. I have 2 left. I've not been rolling well. But I think Opal's at the state where like, yeah, no, she's priorities. This is just she'll get that gold back. I'm gonna spend 2.
Okay. Roll with a +2.
Damn you, subtly engaged. If you do this now, that's an 8. So on a hit, well, okay. On a hit, I may uncross a fringe benefits, and I can only clear a black mark on a 10+. Yeah, that's the thing I did want to point out. That
I think it should be to be able to clear a black mark on a hit.
Okay, cool. Because I can only get a fringe benefit crossed out if I don't complete a task, which then after all called to the table.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Let's do. Everybody got XP for various misses throughout the session. So at the session's end, mark XP for each yes to the following questions. Did you encounter a situation which forced you to challenge or question your belief? I think that's actually yes across the board for all 3 of you today. Most definitely. So everybody mark a point for that. David, did your connection to another PC cause you problems?
Yes, I guess it did. I mean, technically it was a good thing, broadly speaking, but still problematic, I'd say. Yeah.
Mark an XP. Damsa?
Yes, if I didn't know Opal, I wouldn't have encountered Song Cullen. Blah, ...
And Leandra, definitely one for you.
No, don't even need to ask. No.
Yeah. Did your connection to another PC cause you problems? And I think that is across the board again, another XP. Did you face danger because of another PC's trouble? This is a little more specific. I think the only one who faced actual danger here was Damsa. So we'll give you a point for that. And then the last question is, David, what did you learn new or significant about the city?
Yeah, I think that about the city itself, the thing that that Dantalian learnt most was the extent of the factionalism and violence, I think, of the city.
Both outside and then within your own friends.
Yeah.
Wow. Damsa, what did you learn about the city?
I learned that it is genuinely and all completely connected to the book. I've been taught it, but today it's
together.
Fundamentally true.
That is perfect. And Opal, what did you learn?
This damn book. This damn book. It's got some power in it, does it?
It does, and you didn't get the job done your boss wanted you to get done. So we'll deal with that next time.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody mark an XP for those things you learned. We'll be playing in 2 weeks because next week is American Thanksgiving, which is the one holiday that Sherry and I actually do for the family, which means we get started on Monday and work our way through. So thank you all so much. I had a very good time. I want to say the feedback you all gave me last time with the wishes and things at the end of the session really helped me, I think, make this a little more focused this time. And we'll do stars and wishes in the next session, but I really want to say that I appreciated that and it gave me a lot to think about. So I want to thank all of you for that. Have a great weekend and have a great week, and I'll see everybody in 2 weeks then.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
thanks so much.
see you soon.
Absolutely.
See you guys.
Bye.